Good evening and thanks for joining us for News Center 1 at 10. I'm Kendall Bartley.
Sam, we're here at the Brookdale Estates off Highway 44 where the Rapid City Police Department believe they may have located 23-year-old Saul Crow, who was named the city's most wanted fugitive. Now, based off information that was provided to them, they believe that they have him cornered in a specific residence and they are using every tactical resource possible to get him to come out of that residence.
Approximately 20,000 vehicles travel this road every day, and in the past 3 years, there have been 6 pedestrian-involved accidents. Just over 54,000 acres of land was destroyed. Among that was the fencing, keeping the animals inside of the park. So the park's priority is to now replace all that fencing with metal posts should this ever happen again. It's recommended that in a house with children, once you're done using the gun, you then remove the magazine and place some sort of locking mechanism inside the gun. Once it's locked, make sure that the key is not somewhere those kids can find it.
Louis Nanya, I'm here at the South Dakota Rose Inn where around 8 p.m. last night, Rapid City Police Department responded to a call. That call being the 3rd homicide in Rapid City this year. That murder is still under investigation, but investigators say the 30-year-old man was likely stabbed to death. Earlier, we had a huge gust of wind and it hit up to 32 miles per hour. Now, these winds are coming in waves. Before that, it hit 26. So that's what you're going to be dealing with today when you leave. See, the wind's coming. It's coming fast. Right now, it just hit up to 32 once again. Every year, this ride is dedicated to a specific veteran. This year, it's dedicated to Stan Lieberman, who is one of only 2 surviving veterans from Pearl Harbor that resides in South Dakota. I'm here with Steve, who is both blind and deaf, but that's not going to stop him from getting on the slopes today. With this remote control, if I turn it
right,
or
left,
or
stop.
there's a vibration on his head that tells him which way to go. Our snow just started to come down about 40 minutes ago, and I'm here with Daryl Shoemaker from the city. Now, Daryl, what are the road conditions like this morning?
Officials say rescue boats are being sent to the explosion site, and many serious injuries have been reported. 5 victims suffered blast and burn injuries and were taken to a level 1 trauma center. 2 others are being treated for lesser injuries. Topping headlines tonight, another mass shooting in America. This time, the worst mass shooting ever at an American house of worship. A gunman reportedly entered a Texas church this morning and opened fire. More than 20 people were killed and about 20 more wounded. Good evening and thanks for joining us for News Center 1 at 6. I'm Kendall Bartley. The state's Division of Criminal Investigation is conducting an investigation into a high-speed chase which ended with authorities finding a dead body in the trunk. Police are currently investigating the deaths of 2 individuals found yesterday morning. 55-year-old Connie Rednest and 58-year-old Ernie Evans, both of Rapid City, were found unresponsive at 10:15 a.m. and pronounced dead at the scene. And now we welcome in Chief Meteorologist Bob Riggio. Bob!
Yeah, yes.
We have a cold. We have the cold coming.
I know. We got snow coming in. We have wind coming in. We have blowing snow coming in after today.
Yes.
What in the world's going on out there in the weather world? That's what I.
Bob, is it true? Are we getting a break
Yes,
from
we
these
are,
freezing
finally.
temps?
Didn't it feel a little bit warmer today, though, than it has been over the past few days?
The sun was out.
Exactly. That's my theory as well.
Mm-hmm.
Plus the winds were down. You know, I mean, a little bit of sunshine. 4 was a high temperature, but to me and to you, it felt a little bit warmer.
I can't remember
than that.
the last time we saw the sun either,
Oh,
though.
I can't either, but it was out today.
Thank you, Sam. Following those allegations, actress Alyssa Milano shared this post. It says, suggested by a friend, if all the women who have been sexually harassed or assaulted wrote Me Too as a status, we might give people a sense of the magnitude of the problem. And that hashtag, #MeToo, has created a movement, with men and women sharing their story of harassment or sexual abuse. Those 2 words have provided a voice for victims of vastly unreported crimes. As the woman that we spoke to put it, speaking out is the first step towards a path of recovery.
I was in this dark, secluded hole. He had isolated me from all my friends, all my family. I was depressed.
This woman, who wishes to remain anonymous, married who she thought was the man of her dreams. But it wasn't until after they wed that the abuse began.
This is just a vicious cycle. He'll hit me and then he'll apologize. And then a month later or 2 weeks later, it'll be, oh, you know, he raped me, and then he would apologize.
Sexual assault can be defined as anything non-consensual, unwanted sexual touch, or sexual act.
Every 98 seconds, somebody becomes victim of sexual assault. And every 8 minutes, that victim is a child.
Because of fear and manipulation, her instincts to protect her son overtook her will to leave.
Just absorbing the abuse, keeping quiet. I was afraid he was going to take my son and leave.
And like most, the fear held her back from turning over a new leaf.
Because there is a lot of self-blame and shame associated with both, and we really need to put the blame back on the perpetrator and off of the victim. There's a lot of stigma behind that. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I was drunk. Boys will be boys. It was just locker room talk.
Her mother began noticing her weight loss and depression, prompting her to gather the strength to change her life.
If it wasn't for her, I either would have committed suicide or my husband at the time probably would have killed me.
And now a social media movement bringing awareness to the number of people affected by abuse may help some begin their path to recovery.
I applaud anybody and everybody. If you haven't spoken out yet, or if you have and you're thinking about it, please do.
Locally, Working Against Violence Incorporated provides programs for survivors of sexual assault and a 24-hour crisis hotline. If you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence or sexual assault, don't be afraid to speak up. You can find more information about those programs and a full list of assault indicators on our website at newscenter1.tv.
What we've seen this morning is an unspeakable horror.
5 confirmed fatalities, all children ages 6 to 11 years old, killed when a 2-story house caught fire. It is not yet known if all 5 children lived at that home or if some were visiting.
We're still in the process of confirming identities for these kids and making sure that all appropriate family members are notified.
A number of adults who attempted to save the children were taken to the hospital. The extent of their injuries are still unknown.
We don't know exactly how many were in the house.
Firefighters arrived at 1135 North Ames Street around 4:30 Saturday morning to find a house engulfed in flames.
The firefighters tried to make entry when the neighbors and family members told them that there were people trapped inside. They did what they could, but the volume of fire, there was just no way they could get in to perform a search.
The stubborn fire took firefighters more than an hour to put out.
It was difficult to get to because the roof had already started to collapse in the center. We just couldn't put firefighters inside.
Using an aerial ladder truck, they were able to get water inside the structure from above. The investigation is being hampered by the severe damage to the house, making it difficult and unsafe for investigators to do their job. Society today is so quickly changing and evolving, and technology plays a big role in that. There's so much we can do just simply on our smartphones. But it's nothing new for students. Most were born into a smartphone world. So the school's goal, to teach the students the way they live.
Well, 21st century learning, there's a lot of discussion around what that really means. And when people think that, they automatically go to, oh, it's about computers. It's really about looking at the problem and figuring out how to fix it, if it's with a computer or with a piece of paper or working with a team.
Adapting to new and ever-changing technology is key, not only for student success in the classroom, but also in everyday life. And the Rapid City Area School District wants to bring a realistic learning experience into the classroom, giving students the knowledge and tools needed to succeed.
It's those things such as problem solving, critical thinking and analysis, working as a team, really being able to communicate well in a number of ways.
Technology is all around us in the 21st century and gives a global perspective through the internet and social media. But the goal of the district's 21st century learning strategy is to teach students to evolve with a fast-paced society and use technology as a tool. Many of these students were born into a world of innovation and connection, but their educators were not.
And so that's kind of where we have to do a paradigm shift and understand that kids today do learn differently, and therefore technology has a critical role in the classroom.
While taking into account the importance of face-to-face interaction, not relying solely on technology-based learning.
We want there to be a balance. It shouldn't be about constant use of technology. Really, it's about thinking more carefully about what is the role of technology and when and how should it be used during the school day.
Tomorrow I will discuss the third part of the 5-part strategic plan, College, Career, and Life Readiness. You can also find all the information on our website at newscenter1.tv/RCAS plans. Aladdin, Wyoming has a population of 15 people, and for the first time in history, it's up for sale. Nearly the entire town is part of an auction selling to the highest bidder, and it won't even cost you one of your 3 wishes. To locals, it's known as Grand Central Station, and to visitors, it's one of a kind.
Basically, we're selling virtually all of the commercial type property within the town of Aladdin.
Well, the town of Aladdin is for sale.
That includes the 125-year-old Aladdin store, Cindy B's Cafe, the motel, and more. Each item can be purchased individually or in a bundle.
It doesn't matter where you start out, it's where you end up. And with auction, we set no top limit.
Purchasing the primary establishment includes everything shiny, shimmering, and splendid. Rick Brangle, the shop's owner for the last 30 years, was, in his words, just an old rancher turned into storekeeper because of empty nest syndrome.
When we bought it, it was a grocery store.
Now it's the center of the town. The purchase includes the liquor store with license, gas station, post office, and about $160,000 worth of inventory. This historical stop for tourists and bikers during the Sturgis Rally has brought in over $1 million of revenue in the past decade. And not much has changed since the store was built to keep the tradition alive.
Holdover, I think, probably is the draw.
After the store wasn't selling at the hoped $1.5 million listing price, the auction was the next step.
You might have noticed we're getting a little long in the tooth, and it's just something has to give, so we decided to put it up for auction.
And they hope the new buyers will keep the tradition part of this world.
I would definitely like to see it stay the way it is,